My name is Kian Tajbakhsh. I was born in Iran, but I did most of my education and schooling in the UK. And then I emigrated to New York City in the 1980s. I was born in Iran to Iranian parents, but we were exiled from Iran in 1979 after the Islamic Revolution, where the United States embassy was taken hostage by the revolutionaries. After I moved to the United States, I did my graduate work at Columbia in political science and urban studies. Currently, I am a professor of international relations at New York University, and I'm a fellow of a committee of, at the Committee on Global Thought at Columbia University. I'm a research affiliate. I went back to Iran after a 20 years absence in about 1997. And I started working in my area of democracy promotion and democracy development. I had studied democracy as a very important aspect of political science. And I started working as an activist and as a researcher promoting human rights, democracy, and civil society. We worked for about 10 years. I was representing Western foundations and think tanks and universities. But in the late 2000s, in 2007 and 2009, I was arrested by the Iranian government for undertaking the kinds of projects that I was doing because they felt threatened by the kind of democracy aspirations that we were promoting. Unfortunately, I was held for over a year in Evin Prison, including over 8 months in solitary confinement. Then I was held for 6 years under house arrest inside Iran until I was freed as part of the 2015 nuclear deal that was signed by the Obama administration. And that's when I came back to the United States and I joined Columbia University and NYU there. Prison experience was, of course, very, very hard. It was a very traumatic experience. We spent 23 hours when I was in solitary confinement inside, only 1 hour allowed to go outside and see the sky. There was constant interrogations by the security services, sometimes many hours on end, and then sometimes days or hours without seeing anyone. I was fortunately able to get some books that my wife brought for me from home, and they were vetted and checked by the prison authorities. But once I got them, I was able to read, and that really was the way I kept myself sane. I also did exercise inside the cell. I tried to stay calm, and but it was extremely difficult. But with the support of my family, particularly my wife, I was able to get through that very, very hard experience inside of prison. When we were removed from solitary confinement, I joined a group cell where I'm happy to say that in retrospect, it was a very, very important period and learning experience of my life because I met many senior politicians who were also in prison, and I learned from them. I learned more about my country, the country of my birth, Iran. I learned very difficult things about myself, about how much I was willing to tolerate and how much suffering I could take and how much it was worth. In other words, it's something I learned from Reinhold Niebuhr, that to be a moral man, to be a moral person means in part being able to be clear on what costs you're willing to pay for standing up for principles in a community that may have different values. When I was released from prison, house arrest for the first few months meant literally being stuck inside the house, inside the apartment, But after a few months, I was allowed to go out of the house, although I wasn't allowed to work, meet friends, travel outside the country, attend any meetings, or do anything formally. I could just meet family members. I could walk my daughter to school. I could walk in the park to get exercise. But the fact that I was with family and was able to meet with family, and particularly be with my growing daughter and with my close family, was really what began. I was able to heal over about a period of about 5 years, 6 years, until we were released. So in the end, I think that part of those spiritual resources, also the time I was able to think and read and learn, was what in the end I'd like to think that what I took away and the benefits I took from that period were greater than the costs.